Merry New Year. Well, 2022 is in the books because today is New Year's Evil day after New Year's Evil. I guess New Year's Eve was last night, so now it's New Year's Day. So it's very exciting, right?
Yes.
And we have some co-hosts. I totally forgot where I was going. I thought I was going someplace good, but yeah, I think I hate 2023 already.
You're off to a great start.
Not to a bad start, but hey, it's vegan beef jerky time. So welcome to Trick or Treat Radio. It's a trading place.
Welcome to the 2022 year-end show. This is the show where we talk about all the films, well, maybe not all of them, at least 13 films that we watched each. And we're going to go ahead and give you our top 13 lists, and then we're going to take count of all the films, and we're going to add them up, and we're going to come up with a master list, and we're going to come up with the top 13 for the show. And helping us to do that this year is our good buddy who joined us several times throughout the year, Arkham Josh. So Arkham Josh, thanks for pinch hitting and on very short notice, as you always do.
No problem. Thanks for having me. For the purposes of this episode, you can call me Faux Aries. And you know, I know it is abnormal for a guest to hop in on the intro, but Raven Shadow looked lost for a moment, and I knew he was in trouble when the first words out of your mouth was Manny New Year.
Manny.
Yeah.
Thinking about Manny Ramirez.
Yeah, he was very important to the Red Sox. 2004, 2000, other ones, 2006.
Yeah. So you guys are having some hiccups today, so I was glad to jump in. So at least you can direct some of that at me.
It's true. Josh,
you can pretend it's all my fault.
Josh has helped me out so much already this year. It's not impossible for you because this sucks.
Well, I know. I mean, and he's probably, as he typically does, he's probably going to translate for you as well several times throughout the episode.
I'm going to try.
We've already had that conversation.
Wow. We're just getting started, too. How about that? So, yeah. We are broadcasting this live. I actually am just about to send out the notification to surprise folks because we didn't really necessarily plan on it, but mostly because I just kind of want to skip the step of uploading it later. So if I do it live, it saves time. So why the fuck not? We do everything live on this. So so there you have it. So maybe we have some people tuning in live. Maybe we don't because I didn't really plan to do it live. But we normally release this on the 1st, which we will, and we usually record it a couple days early, but since it's falling on the 1st, it makes sense that we just fucking stream it live. So there you go. So yes, top 13 films. We watched 60, well, I actually said 60 films, but one of them was a TV series that we did for a Patreon takeover. Our buddy John had asked us to watch the first 2 episodes of the show 30 Coin, which I'm glad we did because it was pretty awesome. But that doesn't count because I've only seen the first 2 episodes. I never got to finish the season. So it wouldn't be fair to just judge it on 2 episodes and it's not a film. So we, I think I don't think anyone included it anyways from what I can see, but there you have it. Just want to call that out. So 59 films that we did this year. Raven Shadow, you got through December, double feature cram jam. I know it was rough, but you made it, right? In one piece? Mostly one piece?
Well, there's lots of pieces happening tonight. But no, yeah, no, I survived. Just me and you, Wolfie.
Yep, just you and I. We're the only two left. It was a war of attrition. Thankfully, Josh
Yep.
is here to really, to boost our morale this year.
Trying to help.
Thank God. I mean, real convenient for Aries. Just saying.
But we are gaining one back in a few days, Raven Shadow.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And MZ's coming back off the bench.
He's coming right. Yeah,
That's right. Well, you know what we should do? Like maybe I'm kind of like burying the lead here a little bit, but we should just begin the next episode with MZ like we just skipped a year completely. Maybe it was just a dream, Raven Shadow. Maybe we just woke up and we dreamt that he wasn't here.
And it never happened.
That's true. We'll have like you could maybe film it, Wolfie. You could have like you go into a bathroom and you like, you pretend you're talking to like the T-Dog and be like, I really miss Monster Zero. I wish you'd come back to the show. And then you decide to go into the shower and then Monster Zero's in there. And he's like, oh, what are you talking about, Wolfie? I've been doing the show all along.
I don't really want to think about him in my bathroom. That's fucking weird.
But it's like Dallas.
Well, why don't we do something better? Like, didn't Spider-Man wake up from a dream after like being dead or something like that?
Spider-Man sold his love of his wife to Mephisto, so that's a bad example. To save his 90-year-old aunt.
I think the entire last year took place in a snow globe and a child owns.
It's true. Just shake up that.
What show was that?
That was St. Elsewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. With Benny, who later played the bad guy. Oh, he was Dr. Giggles.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And also Durant.
Larry Drake.
The great Larry Drake.
Yes.
Larry Bud Drake.
I'm here to try to actor translate for Raven Shadow.
Oh, thank you.
That fucking guy who fucked with
that fucking guy. So we have top 13s coming up. I'm actually tallying up the Patreon list. This year, this is different because it is the three of us. Josh is stepping in, and he watches. I think you watched all the movies, right, Josh, or almost all of them.
I think I watched probably about 54 of them.
That's
so
pretty. Okay, that's pretty damn good. That's more than Raven Shadow watched.
Yeah, no.
When I looked through the list, there was only maybe 4 to 6 of them that I was like, I don't know what that is. And I had to look it up, and I was like, yeah, I didn't watch that.
It was kind of like Raven Shadow. Raven Shadow, you had to go watch trailers for every single movie because you forgot all of them, right?
No, for the most part, I listened to actually Josh's voicemails. And then what he didn't leave voicemails for, then I watched those trailers.
Well, and to be fair, when you look at that list, there was even stuff on there that I had watched that I was like, what the hell's this?
Right.
And I mean, I didn't go watching trailers, but there was definitely a few things I typed into IMDb. And when it popped up, I read the description. Went, oh, yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
And those movies didn't make the list.
But as I was telling, as we were having dinner, that's how we roll. Mary and Josh and I was saying, like, I looked up like Retaliators and Take the Night Back, like 3 times.
Take Back the Night.
Take Back the Night. Yeah. I kept forgetting.
How did you forget the Retaliators? You fucking love that movie.
I know.
Apparently not enough.
Well, I have memory loss, Josh. a lot of bomb shots in the 90s.
In the 90s.
In the 2000s and before you came over, quite frankly. That was in 2022. Yeah.
So this year, since we're used to having 4 people, at least 4 people on the show, 4 hosts, since we were down to 3 and we had so many guests throughout the year, I mean, it only makes sense that we got Josh here. Josh is stepping in for Aries technically, and so then we have the 4th list is coming from our Patreon listeners. What I did was we had 4 people submit lists. The criteria was pretty tough. You had to watch at least 40 of the 59 films. So I mean, that's a lot of movies. I know we have a lot of people that do play along, but you had to be a Patreon supporter and have watched at least 40, and then you could submit a list. And so out of that, we got 4. We got 4 lists from Patreon listeners. So I'm putting them together. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to add them all up, and that's going to be one list. So I'm the way we do this, and the way we've always done this, is we assign a point value to every film on a list. So for instance, each of our number 1 film will get 13 points. And then it goes, down from there. Number 2 gets 12, number 3 gets 11, and then so on and so forth, all the way where number 13 just gets 1 point. You with me, Raven Shadow?
So when you start doing your list, the least favorite on the list is number 13, and that's what you start with.
Copy that, Wolfie. Yep.
Okay.
Favorite.
Thank you, Josh.
1.
Yep. Copy that.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's our point system.
I've already got a peek at his list. He's very confused. His hot place is the raid.
So I thought,
yeah.
I thought about giving the Patreon listeners like quarter points or something like that, but I don't know. Like it gets a little bit confusing, and I was thinking of a way to have the values be a little lower, because I like doing 4 lists. I feel like that is how we've done it the last several years. So this way, I took all the Patreon listener lists and then did them by the same point value, but I'm going to make a master list out of the Patreon picks. Therefore, that is one list. So I can go ahead and read everybody's Patreon list as we get closer to the end, just so everyone can sort of have theirs be out there. But yeah, so that's how we're doing it. And so I guess, let's see, trying to think of what the best way. You know what? I'll go when we do start. I'll go, and then maybe I'll do the Patreon last. Well, actually, no, in the middle. Go ahead, Rave Shadow.
Do we want to discuss any of our either group or personal criteria for our decisions?
Yeah, before we make our first selection, or before we tell everyone what number 13 is. So, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll go me, Raven Shadow, Patreon, Josh. That way it breaks it up, so I'm not doing mine and Patreon back to back. And then we'll go ahead and figure out what the master list is based off of that. And for folks listening to this, we also have a Patreon show that will be dropping as well, and it is a companion piece to this. And in the Patreon show, we will be doing our Dear God No award for the worst film of the year. We will be doing our personal top 5s. Everyone has a different top 5 that they've put together. And we'll also just have a larger discussion about the year in film, because we're going to keep this pretty tight to our top 13s while talking about those films that we chose. And then we'll have kind of a little bit of a side conversation about the year in film on the Patreon show. So if you guys want to hear that and you're not already a Patreon supporter, you can head on over to patreon.trickortreatradio.com, and you can get in for as little as $2 a month. Just as long as you're in any of the tiers, you'll have access to all of our Patreon exclusive shows. We do an exclusive show every month, and those shows are just exclusive to Patreon. They won't be available anywhere else, or we don't have any plans to release them outside of Patreon. And we just got a couple new Patreon supporters in the last week or so we appreciate you guys. We called them out on the last weekly show, so thank you so much for everyone who has supported up to this point. And Yeah, give it a look because I think those Patreon shows have different content, but I think they're pretty interesting. We kind of like we take our shoes off and like put our feet up a little bit, Raven Shadow, right? Get comfortable and have a conversation.
Yeah, reach down between your legs.
Use the tea bag.
Yeah, it's fun.
Is it fun?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So another thing that we do is we typically try to guess what we think everybody's number one film is going to be. It's just kind of, just a fun little game. I don't think we've ever done prizes or anything like that, but that's what we do. So let's do that. So I guess I could go. See, the thing is, I kind of know who what Patreon might be because I haven't finalized the list, but I have a good feeling. So I won't pick the Patreon one because I feel it's kind of unfair,
Yeah.
So because I've already taken a look at it, but anyways, let me see here. So guesses. For Raven Shadow, oh man, I never know what to do with yours. It could be like, chances are it's not anything that was in the first 3 months because you don't remember that, and you don't have time to go back and watch anything. So, probably not in the first 3 months, maybe even 4 months.
Just choose from the past 3 weeks.
Yeah. Past. What was his favorite movie last week? That's.
Did it star David Arbor?
Abba.
Abba. Yeah, David Abba.
David
Christmas
Abba.
trees.
Christmas trees. Yeah.
Oh man, this is actually kind of tough this year.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I've got a good list for Raven Shadow.
Yeah, I think I know which one to go with for Raven Shadow now. You know what? I'm gonna go with Allegoria for Raven Shadow.
Wow.
That's my choice too.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Stay tuned.
All right. So Josh chose Allegoria for Raven Shadow. So actually, let's see. Okay, and for Josh, this is a tough one. Yeah, this is a rough one. You know what? Okay, I'm just gonna I actually don't remember what Josh thought about this. All right, I'm just gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Barbarian for Josh.
Interesting.
All right. So, Raven Shadow, how about you? You can choose what you feel mine, Josh, or Patreon are going to be.
It's hard. Fuck, I can't read that anyway, Josh. It's dark and I'm wearing sunglasses.
Dark glasses, that's it.
Where'd you get some cheap dark glasses? For Wolfie, no, I think it's going to be everywhere, everything, all at once.
All right.
It's a remix.
everything.
You know what? For now, I'm just going to refer to that film as Eow, because it's EEAAO. I don't want to keep saying everything, everywhere, all at once. So it's Eow.
Eow.
You put a little oomph into it, Raven Shadow. Eow. Here you go.
I feel like I'm like Julie Newmar.
Wait, what was that? What was that presidential candidate like from a few years ago that got canceled because he said "yeah"?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine that, huh?
We're going to Washington.
Yeah.
We're going to Hampshire. We're going to Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can apparently lie, cheat, steal, kill people, whatever, and it doesn't matter apparently, right?
To be fair, the dude's
Just as long as you don't say yeah.
yeah.
That's the
Come
one
here.
political no-no. Never say yeah.
It's a he said what?
Cowboys are tired of being stereotyped.
Yeah. What's fucked up? Like, yeah, dude was enthusiastic. I mean, I probably wasn't going to vote for him, but I mean, he was enthusiastic. And then
He had the enthusiasms, Raven Shadow.
he had the enthusiasms. And then didn't Dukakis get into a little bit of a pickle because he was driving a tank? That was the thing.
That was quite a different.
Evil Corny said Dean. Yeah, that's right. It was
Yeah.
I forget his first name. Howard Dean or something like that.
Howard Dean, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Did they put like in like a whoosh sound effect, or was that just what I added in my head? Remember that? Like, did he do like a? All right.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that was him. That was him. Howard Dean. Yeah.
Kind of like
Howard Dean.
Yeah, Howard Dean. Yeah. Get him in, roll him up, ride. So yeah, so I pick for Wolfie.
Okay.
And I don't know, Josh could really be like 1 through 57. I don't know.
Just pick one. Just pick one. Random.
Saloom.
All right. Saloom is Josh's. And then do you have any idea about the Patreon pick? Any thoughts?
One Patreon in particular?
No. The overall.
Averages them.
Average.
Well, I'm not sure how averages work.
You don't have to know how they work. What do you feel it was the consensus favorite film from Patreon supporters that sent in their list?
The Barbarian.
The Barbarian.
Thunder the Barbarian.
All right. So we got Raven Shadows. Josh had already picked for Raven Shadow. So Josh.
Yeah, for him.
Yeah.
For Wolfenstein, Decision to Leave. That's my guess.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
And for the Patreon, since I only know one person that sent in a list, I don't know the overall people. I'm just going to go with a film that seemed to have been very popular this year.
Yeah, I want to take mine back, but go ahead.
Terrifier 2.
Okay. So Josh won't Terrifier 2.
Back.
I think I do, but I don't feel I should. I feel once you say it's out there, it's like taking your finger off the chest.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Now we should ask the Patreon list who it thinks ours are. Oh, I forget. I can't talk. Never mind. So we won't do that.
I know I'm crazy Patreon.
I'm crazy Patreon. I think is number one. All right. Cool. Well, we got that out of the way. So I guess. Oh, you know what? I have to finish the Patreon list. So, why don't you guys just have a very quick discussion about the year in film?
So Raven Shadow.
Yes.
This year, there were movies.
Lots of movies.
There were lots of movies.
There was movies. There was a lot of gaffers got employment this year.
It's true. A lot of best boys.
Best boys. Best people.
This was one of the best years for best boys in the history.
It was a what do you call that? A career year for the best boy industry.
So So on a more serious year in film note.
Yes.
What was one film that was not covered on the show this year that you really enjoyed, that you would want to see again?
That was not covered?
Correct.
On the show?
He doesn't watch movies not covered on the show, so.
I don't got fucking time, Wolfie. This is like 59.
There was like 5 comic book movies this year. I'm sure he saw at least one of them.
Yes.
Ta-da!
What was this year?
There was Black Adam.
Yeah,
There's Morbius.
See that.
There's that.
Is it Morpin time?
Mighty Morbius Power Rangers, Power Draculas.
Morbin time.
Oh, that's that was fun.
I liked it.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. I liked I like the paint world. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good treat.
I was hoping to get a little bit more out of you than that.
Oh yeah, no, it was cute.
Because you're the comic book guy. You know these things.
I am, and that was something that was very historic about that this year. I think not only was it very important for this year, but also in the history of the show, it was the first, at least modern day comic book movie that I saw before Corny in theaters, and that was exciting.
That's an achievement.
It was an achievement.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you're not even an A-list member.
No. I went to the second run theater and they got it first. It's weird. I don't know how they did that.
That was some shady business.
There was some shady. There was a couple of shady brothers selling some DVDs in the back of a truck. And Mary and I watched it at the comfort of my own home after buying it in the theater parking lot. No, it was.
So how many people were sitting in front of you on the TV screen?
Not a lot. But no, that was fun. I like that.
I thought it was a fun film. Like I've said in the past, I am only cursorily familiar with a lot of the comic book stuff. So I don't know enough to like nitpick and be like, oh, they got that wrong, or And but I thought it was a fun ride. It was action packed and it had the scary moments.
And it was Sam Raimi doing a magic comic book movie. Yeah. And to my understanding is Raimi is his two favorite characters were Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Right. And this was him. I felt him as chance to kind of like go in all out. Yeah.
And being Sam Raimi, we got a nice Bruce Campbell cameo.
Right.
Which is good because I do recall, I don't know if you remember back in the early to mid 90s, there was a lot of rumblings when there was supposed to be a bunch of Marvel movies made then.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the ones that had been talked about at that point was a Doctor Strange film with Bruce Campbell playing the lead character.
That actually would not... It's hard looking back at that time frame.
Right.
But like young... I mean, the thing is, Bruce Campbell is a fucking leading man.
Oh, yeah.
That just didn't get that like he's somewhere between like Cary Grant, Rupert Murdoch, Rupert Everett, thank you. He's no Rupert Murdoch, or even like a small part in the Hudsucker Proxy. Like,
oh yeah,
why is Bruce Campbell not fucking?
I think part of the problem was the slapstick. I think the slapstick stereotyped him.
Yeah, too early on.
Yeah. Because whether it was the horror stuff or the comedic stuff, it was always the physical comedy.
Yeah.
And I mean, look how big Jim Carrey had to get before he could get a serious role.
No, it's true. That's actually really true. I mean, thinking like even back to something like Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Right. I mean, when he was doing things like that or Man on the Moon, he was like one of the top 5 most famous actors in the world. Like,
but you're coming off after doing Fire Marshal Bill and Once Bitten and
the Ace Ventura films.
Yeah. Even The Mask. Yeah. Would have been his most serious picture to date.
Right.
Probably at that time.
Right. So I can see where maybe Bruce Campbell got stereotyped in that way, and it was hard for him to be, seen as other roles, which I do very much believe he could have done.
Yeah, it's almost like if it's a different level of TV now.
Yeah.
But even they did keep giving him series.
Oh yeah. And I even remember, I think it was in the mid to late 90s, there was a movie, which I cannot remember the name of, but there's a movie within the movie that a character is always watching. And it is kind of, the movie within the movie is like a action romance. And in that movie within the movie.
Matinee, I believe, or something like that, right?
That's a matinee. That was the one with John Goodman as like the William Castle type guy. But in this film, like in the movie within the movie, Bruce Campbell's the lead. like the romantic.
Yeah, I remember that one. Holy shit. I'll look it up because it's gonna drive me crazy.
So I think there was a time where it might have been possible, but it just wasn't right.
Yeah.
All
It's a
right.
shame.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. Do you remember when it was?
It had to have been mid to late 90s.
Okay.
Like post Briscoe County Jr.
Yeah, probably post that.
and pre
Definitely post like Army of Darkness.
post Army of Darkness, but before the Hercules stuff, before the
Or maybe even during. I don't know.
auto, yeah.
Oh man, I'm not seeing. It's not what I thought it was, I guess.
Matinee is also a good movie.
Yeah. I could have sworn I remember seeing him in something like that, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna look too.
But he would have worked with the Coens did Hudsucker Proxy, right?
Yep.
Obviously, Raimi. Now Raimi kind of had an uphill battle, really up until Spider-Man, really.
Right.
And probably was he For Love of the Game, maybe. But he's stuck in the genre stuff. So like, I forget who made Waxwork, but yeah, maybe just that wrong time where he had that leading man good looks.
Yeah, and I just think it wasn't. He didn't have the right people take notice and want to use him, unfortunately. Okay, let's see here. I got to do a lot of scrolling here.
Yeah.
Because the man's career has been what we call prolific.
The problem, like, if you figure his one true leading big push was Army of Darkness, right?
Yeah.
And you could argue that was marketed poorly.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason that should have been rated R. Also, it was part 3 of a franchise that didn't have the names of the first 2 movies in it.
I can't find it either, but I know I've seen it.
Unless is it something he was not credited in? Evil Corny said Matinee as well.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was.
You're probably
Matinee.
not. You're probably not wrong, Josh.
I can be wrong every once in a while. It happens.
I guess if he was in that, it's possible he wasn't credited
Was
or
it
something.
2001, Hollywood writer gets into a car accident, loses his memories, and settles down in a small town where he is mistaken for a long. I think it was The Majestic.
Oh, that's yeah. That's you know what? That's what I was trying to say.
Was one of the first times Jim Carrey tried doing a serious role. Because Jim Carrey is the actual lead, the person who keeps watching the movie with Bruce Campbell in it.
Oh, okay. That's funny. That's The Majestic.
Yeah. Directed by Frank Darabont.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, it's been a while since I saw that. I think that's what I had in mind. Majestic Matinee. That's right. Yep.
So, and I think the Majestic is the name of the theater.
Yeah. You're right. Yep. Yeah, I haven't seen this in a while. Bob Balaban, Ron Rifkin, Martin Landau, Jeffrey DeMunn.
Campbell. Pick it up.
You just wanted some Jeffrey Tambor.
I do want to.
All right. So I have the list done, so we can move on. That's a good I think that's a good pull though. Funny conversation talking about 2022 films that led to an interesting discussion about Bruce Campbell.
Obscure drama.
Did you ever see Crime Wave?
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah. Linus said that Doctor Strange was his favorite Marvel flick this year. I still haven't seen it.
It was fun. It was a Sam Raimi movie.
Oh yeah,
Sam Raimi.
It was Sam
Raimi.
Sam
Raimi. Yeah.
That's the name Sam uses.
Yeah.
When he needs to distance himself from a project. It's my cousin Sam.
Yeah. Sam Bone.
All right. So I do have the Patreon list all ready to go. I'm going to change. Let's see. I'm going to change the order real quick. Let's do. Oh no, is there roboting?
We are roboting.
We are roboting.
Oh shit! Let me
And
try.
Ollie is under the table this time, so I know it.
Let me try the easy fix on my end. So I'm just gonna disconnect. You guys will still hear me. I'm gonna disconnect the video. So let's see if this works.
Good.
Hopefully the easy fix works, but sometimes it doesn't. Is it still robot?
Yes.
Keep
Okay.
talking. Keep talking. Microphone
Talk,
check.
talk. Hey, hey, hey. See, this is the.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna disconnect you guys. But before we do that, actually, Raven Shadow and Josh, why don't you guys talk about how you chose your lists? When you guys can go, and then while I get the thing ready to restart it, and then I'll go. So I guess Raven Shadow, how did you pick your list? What was the criteria you used?
So we should do it with the robot sound in the background?
Yes, because I need time to prepare to get to do it. So go ahead.
2023 sucks.
Only you can hear the roboting.
Oh, really? Only you can prevent forest fires. Oh, yeah.
Well,
So,
it doesn't come across on the recording unless I talk.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Fine. So my criteria is, we watch a bunch of movies and I try to find the best ones, right?
Yes.
But more important than that is I try to look for something that I can do as much as I can by memory. And then at least, or if something, maybe a trailer or a description will trigger that. And I also want to do it from the premise of, hey, if I had a 10-minute break or a half an hour break or dinner to talk to somebody, be like, hey, yo, this is what I'm watching. This is what I'm digging. I recommend you check this out. There are some movies that I left off my list completely because I would see them regardless if we were doing the show. And that's kind of been my kind of guide since we've been doing this show. I didn't put the first Guardians of the Galaxy on my list because I would have seen that anyway. So for this year, I left off Ghostbusters Afterlife.
The Munsters.
And the Munsters and the Batman. Because I would see those movies, with the exception of Munsters, regardless of if we were doing the show. So those are not on my list. So that's kind of
Okay.
that. Thank you.
And before I go into my criteria, I have to point out that I don't know if anybody else will be able to hear it on the recording, but during Raven Shadow's explanation, Wolfenstein gave a little laugh that came through as pure robot and sounded horrifying. Go back and listen. All right. So for my criteria, first thing I did was anything that wasn't a new film from the past couple of years. I immediately knocked that off, like Take Shelter and Lady Terminator.
Yeah.
And then anything that wasn't a movie, that was like a series, knocked that off. Then I kind of made my long list and started tightening it up. There's going to be probably a number of things that seem absent from my list. Things that I would have called in and raved about, or that I was on the show and talked very highly of. But what ultimately came down to making my final 13 was rewatch value. Like, am I going to go for that movie again? Like, can I picture myself if somebody comes over the house and is like, hey, I've never seen this. Am I going to be like, you know what? Let's watch it.
Gotcha.
You know? Because there were some great films that I just don't know if I'm raring to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that was the basics of it.
Gotcha.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these guys since they did that, and I'm going to go ahead and give mine, and then we'll reconnect with them in just a moment here. So for me, my criteria, actually, it's not too dissimilar from both of those guys. I know maybe it's unfair to rule out certain films because, I mean, we do them on the show. So, It's all part of what we did. But I like the list to be representative of our main gimmick. And our gimmick is to talk about new VOD releases. And we make the exception for the occasional theatrical release that pops up on VOD, like, Violent Night or Nope or some of these others, especially if it's a genre film. Because we're not all able to get out to the theater in a timely manner when a film first comes out or whatever. So I did disqualify. Well, actually, you know what? I didn't even disqualify. I probably would have disqualified some. But it turns out that my favorite films actually were, like, the list that I have, the top 13, is exactly what, my favorite list. So, but in the past, I have sort of ruled out certain films. Like if we did the Campbell Holocaust a few years ago. I mean, I'd seen it before, and it's a film that, that I enjoy. I don't remember if it would have actually made the list that year, but something like that I would leave off. Or in this case, there was a few that probably would have got left off if they were ranked up higher, but that's kind of the way it went. And but yeah, I think that's sort of just the way it goes. I just like doing the films that we do on the show, like the ones that we pick, the VOD. So that's kind of where I like us to sit, and that's typically what ends up on my list. So, all right, well, let's see if I can get these guys back on the call here, and then we can get into our lists. I wonder what the chances are Raven Shadow actually stepped away. Probably pretty good. Let's see. I'm going to connect up right now. And we'll see. Raven Shadow didn't step away. Oh, it must have been Josh. Josh must have kept him in his seat.
I held him down.
I'm proud of you. Does it sound better on you guys' end?
Yeah, I don't hear that static anymore.
Okay, good. Cool. I got you guys back on the video feed. And all right, so I just gave my criteria. You guys have heard it before. So it's it turns out I would have disqualified some films probably, but it turns out that the top 13 is the top 13. I didn't, I just kind of ranked them all, and then those are just the ones that ended up at the top of the list. So worked out pretty well.
And you said which ones are the most academic?
Which ones, did I put my monocle on for? That's really what matters. All right, so I think we're ready to begin, and I'm going to go ahead. I'll start off, and then we'll go to, let's see, we'll go to Josh, and then we'll do Patreon, and then we'll do Raven Shadow. We'll do it in that order, actually. So let me just move things around here. Okay, so for me, as I mentioned, I gave my criteria, and there was the way I know a lot of people use Letterboxd, and we actually use it for the show. I try to log all the movies we do for the show, and I give what I feel is a representative star rating, and they use the 5-star rating system, and I don't know why. I prefer 10, even though Letterboxd has half stars, so you could very easily mimic a 10-star system with that. But personally, I've been using IMDb since we started the show, so I like to keep all my ratings there. And this year, there was only one movie that ended up getting a 10-star rating, and obviously that will be my number one. And there was 5 that got a 9-star rating, and the rest are all 8 stars. Now, I had more 8 stars than could fit on the list, so I had to make some tough decisions, and did end up finally narrowing it down. And as we always say, if I were to make this list tomorrow, it probably would be slightly different. It just, it's just the way it goes. This is the way it hit me today as I was sort of like finalizing the order. And so that's what I'm going with. So for me, number 13, this film surprised me. It, not that I wasn't expecting something interesting or different, but it was a film that would kind of be in Raven Shadow's his sort of criteria for being a really good film, where it could be a stage play. That's his his big thing. And this film mostly took place in one location with mostly one actor and a voice. And that voice was behind a filthy, disgusting toilet stall. And it was the voice of J.K. Simmons. Gloria stuck with me. This is a film that I feel had a lot going on kind of beneath the surface. On the surface, it's an interesting film. It's a Lovecraftian cosmic horror. I almost sound like Raven Shadow. Horror movie. But I really liked a lot of kind of what went on kind of just beneath the surface, and like how all this took place in a filthy, disgusting rest stop. Like there's so much that I really dug about it that it stuck with me. And so that is kind of what moved it up the list above all my honorable mentions. So number 13 for me is Glorious. So let's now head on over to Josh.
So, my number 13 was a film that I remember, I think when I did the call-in, I liked it. I wasn't raving about it. It was kind of one of those films that grew on me the more I thought about it. I like the kind of creepy atmosphere that the film builds and the setting. So my number 13 is Off Season.
All right. So Josh is, and that was, I remember that. Actually, I won't say too much just in case it pops up on other lists, but that was, I thought that had a really good vibe. Mickey Keating wrote and directed it. Just interesting flick.
Had a little bit of Lovecraft feel, a little bit of that just kind of rural horror feel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I as I was writing it down, instead of writing the actual movie, I wrote the director, Mickey Keating. I better. Josh is number 13, Mickey Keating. Okay, so Josh is number 13, was Off Season, not Mickey Keating. All right. So let's see here. Let me go with the Patreon. And so the Patreon list. Oh, okay. I have it on the sheet here. So Patreon. So we got lists from 4 folks, from Double D, from EF Contentment, from Evil Corny, and from Rachel from the Zombie Girls. All very good lists. And what I did was, as I said, I plugged them in, assign them the point value, and then what I did was I added all those up. And there was, let me add in a caveat about tiebreakers, because I'm sure they may come up. If there is a tie, the film that appears on more lists breaks the tie. That gets moved up. If they're on the same amount of lists, it's the list that it appeared the highest on. So, for instance, if it got the same amount of points, but it appeared number 2 on one person's list, and that was the highest on, that it appeared, and on someone else's list, it was like number 4, the one that it appears the highest on will be the tiebreaker. So that's how we had a few tiebreakers here. And so just wanted to kind of get that out of the way now. So, but the number 13 flick from our Patreon supporters was the film Fresh. So that is number 13 for Patreon. All right, Raven Shadow, let's hear yours. Number 13, not number 1.
All right.
Number 13.
Yeah, no, I get it. But it's hard too. Like, I started working on my list last night, and I changed it probably 3 or 4 times over the course of the day, and finally I just stopped. I just stopped fucking with it, and it is what it is. But I would agree. Do this tomorrow. I would do it an hour from now. I really could have a different list. So with that said, my number 13 is something that's been a type of a genre that we've done a lot in our 10-year history, and that would be the anthology genre. And those can be hit or miss, but this one in particular, I think trims a lot of fat. Doesn't waste a lot of time with maybe a wraparound that eats too much scenery. And by the way, it's directed by one of my favorite musicians of all time. That's right. So my number 13, directed by Spider-One from Power Man 5000, is Allegoria.
You're doing your list backwards, aren't you?
God damn it. It's upset.
Motherfucker, it means I'm wrong. What the fuck, Raven Shadow?
Yeah.
You uncultured swine? Jesus.
You ignorant slut.
All right, well, man, let me
Look at it do.
let me find the strike through on this. I got fucking Jesus.
We lost.
There we go. There's the strike through. Alt Shift 5. Who fucking knew that? All right.
I didn't.
Do you know what that is, Raven Shadow? Alt Shift 5. Do you know how to do that?
That's fucking
You gotta
stupid.
hit 3 buttons at the same time.
It's a lot of fucking.
You got 10 fingers, and like Alt and Shift are like right next to each other.
Why don't they have one button that's all of those buttons?
And technically, you might even be able to do it with one hand. Alt Shift 5.
Yeah, like
The claw, yes.
The claw.
like so easy a T-Rex can do it. There you go.
All right, well, let me go ahead and give my number 12. And this is a film that we discussed in the last month. And the reason, so as I said, I had a bunch of films that were rated 8 stars out of 10. And the reason this one jumped up a higher on the list is the fun factor. This film was a ton of fun, had some great action sequences, had some heart, and was just a fun flick. And this is a flick that I would tell people, check it out. Like, you know, if you have some time to kill, you're looking for something fun, check out The Big Four, because Timo is he's the man. Love his output. Can't wait to see what he's doing next, although supposedly he's writing a treatment for an offshoot of The Night Comes for Us. So that's interesting. I don't know what that's going to be about, but can't wait. But yeah, so for me, my number 12 is The Big Four.
Nice.
All right, Josh?
All right. Well, I'm a big fan of the sub genre known as the heavy metal horror film. And I also love a really fun movie. So I had to give number 12 to Studio 666.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's got its flaws, but it's a heck of a lot of fun to watch and rewatch. So.
And truly, I think for its gimmick, it's better than it has every right to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's,
it's a one-off movie that they were like, let's just shoot this goofy movie while we record a record. Yeah.
Right. And I think I think still the best part might be, was it Kerry King? The drum sequence. And the last time that we get to see the band together again.
Yeah.
You know, which timing of that sucked. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I agree.
Yeah, that was weird. We talked about that with Rocky, and didn't Taylor Hawkins literally pass like 3 days before we talked about it or something like that?
Enough time had passed between like
rough.
Discussing just like the movie and the Foo Fighters in general with Rock to be like Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters.
So then like, Ugh. Well, changes the
Yeah.
of our conversation in a couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of rough. Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with you, Josh. It was a fun flick for sure. All right, so now we're going to do Patreon, and Patreon's number 12 is the film. This one we did maybe mid-year, and it was directed by a family. I think it's the first film we've ever done directed by a family, and that family is the Addams Family, and we're not talking about Your Girl Wednesday. We're talking about the film Hellbender. That ended up being Patreon number 12. All right, Raven Shadow, you're up.
All right. And yeah, I think my number 12 was a film that I was surprised how good it was. I think I believe it was written by someone that doesn't like to have movies made out of his works, and chose to be involved in making his own movie. And I thought at parts it was impish and whimsical, but also it had some interesting characters that might take place in like a Twin Peaks type world. It had some unusual cast, and I think the world it created for itself made sense. And that would be The Show, written by Alan Moore. I like the hard-boiled detective aspect of it, and it was a very surprising picture for me.
Yeah.
Frankly, I'm surprised you remembered it, because I think it was the second film we did of the year.
So am I, Wolfie.
And to watch.
You watch the trailer like, oh yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of Mac the Knife. Mac Tonight, whoever his name is.
Who isn't? I mean,
I like McDonald's cheeseburgers.
All right, so The Show is Raven Shadow's number 12. All right, so moving back to me, and my number 11 is once again actually another film we did in December. I think there's a pretty good amount of films that show up on here from December. I think we did pretty good with December Double Feature Cram Jam and catching up with some films. I would agree, because we saw some good ones. But for me, number 11, this. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how to describe this one briefly. This film was one that I was looking forward to checking out. It didn't end up hitting on the schedule for whatever reason. And then one of our guests said, oh, if you guys ever do this film, I'd love to talk about it. So then we made sure we added it to the list in December. And I'm really glad that we did, because I think it was a really outstanding film from director Chloe Okuno. And I'm super excited to see what she's going to do next. This was a very confident film by I think a feature film debut, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Previously, she's just done shorts, so pretty impressive for this to be a feature film debut. And the name of that film is Watcher. Really dug it, and thought it was well executed. And I think also for our friends over at the Zombie Girls had it as number one. Good for her moments of the year when we did on our Halloween show. And I would tend to agree. It was up there for sure. And it's the look. It's not necessarily what comes before, but it's the look that she gives. So, yeah, for me, Watcher from director Chloe Okuno is number 11. All right, Josh, let's hear yours. Number 11.
Number 11, well, it's actually already been mentioned, so I am just going to one-up the Patreon folks and choose Hellbender. It's my number 11. I thought it was a really good film for a fairly low-budget film made by a family of amateur filmmakers. I'm really interested in delving into more of their films at some point.
Yeah.
I think at least one of their other ones is on Amazon Prime. and I'm definitely looking forward to whatever they do in the future. It was a really interesting and well done film.
All right. Hellbender for Josh, number 11. All right. So heading back to me. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're not heading back to me. Yeah, Patreon. That's kind of what I meant. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do the next one. Okay, Patreon number 11. This is a film we did in December, and I won't say too much more because it may appear later on. But Patreon's number 11 is Decision to Leave. All right, Raven Shadow, how about you? Number 11.
All right, so my number 11. So normally this style of film is in my wheelhouse. I get it, but it's not my go-to. Actually, this film is two types of films. One has Italian roots, and one has a little more of a Asian style history. But with that said, I am a true fan of the director, and am always excited about what this person does next. And I'm even more excited about what this person is doing next. And it's not the first time we've discussed him or his work, but my number 11 is Maniac Driver by Kurando Mitsutake. Because I think what he did with this movie, took an assignment and put his own spin on it, and actually had something pretty cool to say that was able to kind of have his cake and eat it too with what he was trying to achieve.
All right, Maniac Driver, Raven Shadow's number 11.
Yep.
All right, my number 10, once again, another December double feature Cram Jam movie. And this film was the latest from director Travis Stevens. And I really dug the mix of sort of Euro horror influence. And I just thought it was a really strong film, and it's one that I would like to go back and revisit. That's kind of why this jumped up ahead of some others, because I'm like, oh man, I really want to go check that film out again. So my number 10 is A Wounded Fawn from director Travis Stevens. All right, Josh, you're number 10.
All right. Well, my number 10 is another film that has already been mentioned. I'm sure I spoke very highly of this one in the past. I'm a big fan of Lovecraftian type of films. And my number 10 is Glorious.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Glorious for Josh's number 10. All right. Back to Patreon. Their number 10. I guess I'm not that surprised that this movie popped up on Patreon, although I was slightly surprised to see it appear on more than one list. Let me see. I think it appeared on 2 lists. Not surprised because I don't think it's a good movie. It just surprised that it stuck with people for so long. But the number 10 Patreon film is Duel. Dual, Raven Shadow. Remember that one?
Yeah. God damn it.
with Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Directed by Riley Stearns. Yep.
That's a good fucking movie.
So there you go.
Good fucking movies this year.
Yeah.
That was the Patreon number 10. So Raven Shadow, you're number 10.
Yeah. So my number 10, it's nuts. We need more numbers.
What? Need more numbers?
You know what I mean? Yeah, to have more best of numbers.
Next year, he wants to do a top 54.
Well, slow it down. Let's not get nuts. But maybe like top 15, maybe top 15 this year. Maybe have a point system for honorable mentions.
Top 35.
Top 35. Top 5.
What about top 59? We'll just rank them all.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone gets an Oscar. A local one. But my thank you, Josh, 10 is, listen, This
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
surprised
we're
me.
listening.
Thank you. I just wanted some clarification. This movie surprised me. It's you could say it's two movies in one, with some actors and actresses that normally aren't in these kind of pictures. You know, I'm not saying it's quite the From Dusk Till Dawn kind of vibe where it swerves on you that much, but you know, there is a 20-minute time frame before you see the title card. And it will be a really good romantic comedy until it really changes its direction. And hey, I love The Winter Soldier. I love Bucky. It's fresh is my number 10.
I had actually, I've forgotten that the title card hit so late on that. All right, number 10 for Raven Shadow, fresh. Evil Courtney says Wolfie's pulling a Raven Shadow right now. What does that mean?
True.
What does that mean?
Smoking butts.
It was. Oh, you guys saw that shit.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Chowing tobacco.
All right. Well, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but whatever it is, I shouldn't do it.
Sit on your hands, Wolf. You don't ever do it again.
Is he accusing you to talk about a movie you didn't watch?
I'm gonna have to lie to my doctor about whatever it is.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right, so we're up to 9 already. Number 9. My number 9 was a film we did. I think it was November, so it wasn't quite December, but it was pretty late in the year. And this one we had a real fun conversation around this film. And speaking of films, not title card late. Actually, did this one have a late title card too? I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me. But it did have a very big tonal shift about 20, 30 minutes into the film. And this one was a lot of fun to talk about. It was a lot of fun to watch. And it's one that kind of stuck with me a little bit. So my number 9 is Barbarian.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think it did it have a title card at the beginning?
I don't remember. I remember the tonal shift. I could be thinking of that.
Ending title card.
It been an ending title card. Oh shit.
For some reason, I'm thinking that like you get that end shot and then it cuts to the title before the credits. But I might be wrong on that.
I think it is the end of film.
Mm-hmm. So that is a really late title card.
Yeah, if that's true, yeah.
Yeah, it's like best boy gaffer title.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Josh and let's hear your number 9, Josh.
9. So genre film I don't necessarily talk about a whole lot. The I guess you would call it the historical epic.
No.
But I caught this film in theaters, and it was very impressive to see on the big screen. There was a lot of great vistas, a lot of great special effects, and a very interesting story. So that would be The Northman.
Yeah.
All right, The Northman for Josh, number 9. All right, so what's up?
It's a Peter Northman.
All right, now the Patreon pick is number 9. A film that's already been mentioned, so I won't say too much about it, but number 9 for Patreon is Watcher. All right, Raven Shadow, let's hear your number 9.
It's hard, man. I don't disagree with anything that people have said. This is a very weird list. I'm fascinated how this is going to play out. So my number 9, and this is one that was on the list, it was off the list, and back and forth. Now, the director, I'm always excited for what this person does. I came into some of their past work late, and I gotta say, for all their cinematic output, this is actually my favorite one that they've done. And I want to say something too. All the films I'm discussing well, we've watched, I've not watched a trailer for. I've gone in completely blind. And I think going in completely blind also helps my enjoyment of this picture. Didn't see a trailer. I just knew the title. My number 9 is Nope by Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
All right, Leslie. Nope. Number 9. Okay. All right. So for my number 8, let's see. This is a film. This was one of the best looking films of the year, and when I mention the film and who directed it, it'll be no surprise to folks why I say that. But there's something about this director's films that I always get excited when we're going to be doing a film from this director, and even if it's not as good as some of the director's previous films, it has this feel to them. It has this aura, and it just feels like a cinematic experience. And I love how he dips into like the occult and into other dark corners that some other like bigger directors may not necessarily go to. But my number 8 is Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley.
Yeah. Fuck, I know.
Are you rethinking your list?
It's yeah.
That sounded like a fuck.
Just add them to the honorable mentions for the next show.
I know. It sucks, man. Yeah.
All right, Josh.
Okay, number 8. So this is a film. I knew the title, but I actually didn't even know there was a film coming out because I knew the title from the book, but I hadn't read the book. And when you guys watched the movie, it was a good surprise, and it was a lot of fun. And that is My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Yeah.
All right. So.
That's a movie.
Yeah, they made a movie out of that. Yeah.
Do you think of that movie whenever you eat yogurt now, Josh? Frozen yogurt?
Don't eat yogurt because I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you could share some of the yogurt I have.
I could, yeah. If I ever hang out with you and eat some of your yogurt,
yes,
then
I had yogurt and granola this morning for breakfast. So there you go.
Is it like Fogert?
And I still say that that guy, that character. If that character had been
Christian Lemon, that one.
If he had been utilized a little bit more in film, it actually might have even bumped it up further.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was more room to work with that character that just wasn't explored.
Yeah, I agree. That character was hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. So next up is Patreon. And let's see here. I forgot to write Josh's last one down.
Best Friend's
Exorcism. There we go. I almost wrote My Best Friend's Wedding almost. All right. Best Friend's Exorcism. All right. Number 8. This is from Patreon. And this one ended up coming up on a couple lists. And this... So one person cheated and put this and the film that was related to it also on their list. I'll get to that list a little bit later. But this one ended up becoming...
Find them into one?
Yeah. Once you hear, you'll know, you'll understand.
I'm certain I know one of the two films you're referencing, but I don't know how you mean that they cheated. Like, did they give them the same spot?
Yeah, same spot, yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, number 8 is Pearl. And it seems like, from what I've seen from Patreon lists, that Pearl ended up being higher than X. Because X didn't make the Patreon list. It was on a few lists, but it didn't make the Patreon list. But interesting that, it was almost like, I wouldn't say it's an afterthought because it certainly wasn't, but it was, a film that was like, hey, here's X. Oh, and by the way, there's a prequel coming out later this year. Like they shot at the same time. So just kind of, kind of crazy. That kind of thing doesn't really happen these days, it seems like.
Well, it's like a happy accident. It'd be like the closest thing is like the Peacemaker series based on, James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Well, even
Yeah,
that, like they filmed separately, like they even did that later,
Oh, right, yeah, right. But it's just done at the same time. They were like, you know what? Hey, you know what? We're here. They're here. Let's make a prequel. Come on, who's game?
Right.
Who's
right.
with? What's that? What's that line from Michael Keaton made in what's that movie?
Batman.
The Dream Team. The Dream Team.
Oh, the Dream Team.
Diving in, he's always claiming these things. He's like, oh yeah, I was one of the architects in the Twin Towers. Just want to build one. Hey guys, we're here. Let's make another one.
All right.
It's a great film. I mean, it's different before things happened.
All right. So Patreon, their number 8 was Pearl. All right, Raven Shadow, let's hear number 8.
So my number 8 definitely has things that I don't like. It has animal violence.
It has it has dialogue.
It has dialogue. It has something. It has something to say.
Yeah.
Children leads, but a little bit of superpowers, and I love powers. But it was kind of like, let's say if, the X-Men were children, they were more like Power Pack. Maybe they were in a foreign land, and maybe they were not have any governing ways to use their abilities. So my number 8 is called The Innocents, which is not a feel-good picture, but it was fucking powerful, I thought.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what, Raven Shadow? I forgot to write your number 9. Can you tell me what that is again?
Thank you. My number 9 is...
If you can read it. Oh,
nope.
No. Nope.
Nope.
All right, got it. Thanks.
Nope.
All right, so we're now heading to number 7, and my number 7. This was a tough one to place for me. This one really surprised me at how much I enjoyed it, and I wasn't really going in expecting very much, but after watching it, I just, it was like, wow, like that was actually really fresh and really well done. And, it sort of treads a lot of like tired tropes. And, I don't know. I just think that they kind of hit it like almost flawlessly in their execution. And it just was a ton of fun. And it's a film that I would definitely tell a lot of people to check out, especially if they're tired of kind of the same old of this type of film. But my number 7 is Deadstream.
Yeah.
All right. Josh, you're number 7.
Number 7. So, I'm a person who's been fairly critical of remakes in the past, a lot of them being unnecessary. And a lot of times I just feel they just don't necessarily get the spirit or feeling of the original film. But my number 7 is a film that was actually turned out to be less of a remake and more of just an expansion of the universe. Okay. And that would be Hellraiser.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. All right. Number 7 for Josh is Hellraiser. Yeah, I was actually kind of curious to see where this was going to land for folks. In hindsight, I seem to remember liking it more than I thought. Like it kind of stuck with me a little bit more. And I'm a big fan of David Bruckner, the director. So Makes sense. But yeah, that's a good one. So Hellraiser is Josh's number 7. All right. Patreon supporters, their number 7 is the latest film from the maestro, I guess you could say. He's someone who has been making films for 5 decades now. Is that right? 5, maybe 6. I'll have to double check when his first film came out. But that is Papa Cronenberg, David Cronenberg, and his film Crimes of the Future. Now, he's getting up there a little bit, and hopefully we see some more films from the man, because he's still working at a high level, I believe. And actually, so his first film was in, let's see, I don't know, I've never seen it. It's he did some shorts in the 60s, and he had something called Stereo in 1969. I don't know if it's an hour and 5 minutes. I mean, technically that's a feature.
Good runtime.
So, yeah, with the film in the 60s, that means, is that right? 6 different decades?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Wait, 60s? I have to count on my fucking fingers. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the aughts, the 10s, and the 20s. That's 7. 7 fucking decades.
Wait, what?
How crazy is that?
60s aren't 70 years.
Well,
No,
7
he decades is what I'm saying. He made a film in 69, so that means he got in just under the. Really? Did you chuckle? How old are you?
What? Me?
69.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't chuckling over that. No, I didn't hear that. No,
Yeah,
normally
you did.
I
said
no,
69. You went.
Oh no! I was laughing because I think I'm dumb, but I didn't laugh at.
I mean, it is only 53 years, so we might just have to split the middle and say 6. 60.
No, I didn't.
Does that make you feel better?
I don't know, because Johnny's making fun of me.
I'm trying to deflect from the making fun of you.
Thank you. Yes, I feel better.
All right, so Crimes of the Future was the Patreon number 7. All right, Raven Shaw, you're number 7.
Yeah, I was fucked up too, man. My number 7 is there's a lot of movies that have similar themes over the course of our 59 year.
How many decades have we been doing this show?
To be fair, we've been doing this podcast since the 50s.
You guys invented podcasts.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. What was I going to say? There's some overlap. There's some similar themes in some of the films that we've done. Whether it be cannibalism, white men suck. There's certain themes that are evergreen. So, but my number
7.
My number 7.
Yes, 7.
Takes a nice twist over the let's pretend to befriend a young lady, maybe take her on a vacation, maybe we're gonna kill her and do some bad things. But there's a nice comeuppance in the film that I don't think we've seen a lot, or I have not seen a lot. And my number
7.
My number 7 is A Wounded Fawn.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. See.
So Ravenshaw's number 7 was A Wounded Fawn. Right. Let me check. Sorry, I gotta write that one down. All these fucking things I'm doing here. Wounded Fawn. Okay. So my number 6. This one was difficult for me to place. It's a film that we just did, and it really surprised me at how much I dug it. And I wasn't sure, like, this could have been like upwards of 2, 3, 4. it just was a super solid movie, and was a new voice in horror that we're probably going to be hearing a lot of in the future. So this one, I say it's stuck with me, but we just reviewed it last week. But it's one that I just couldn't put any lower than this. And that's Nanny. Nanny is my number 6. It really, like we talked about, it's a fucking vulgar display of power, like punch to the gut at the end, and just a lot of really cool stuff that happened in it, and film looked great. So my number 6 is Nanny. All right, Josh, let's hear your number 6.
All right, my number 6. It's this many.
Thank you.
I love a fun slasher film, and I love a fun throwback film.
Yeah.
And I tend to also love a good Ty West film. So my number 6 is X.
All right. So
X goal.
And it did. It did.
I'll be
Thank you.
interested. I'll be interested to see if Pearl shows up higher. Well, we'll find out. And then we'll have that conversation if it does or if it doesn't. So X was Josh's number 6. And Patreon supporters, number 6 is a film, I think it was already mentioned. I'm pretty sure, maybe. Number 6, let's see. No, I don't think it has been mentioned, actually. So number 6 is the latest film from Scott Derrickson. He took a little bit of a break after doing Doctor Strange, and he got back to his horror roots, although you could say that Doctor Strange is, I guess, horror adjacent. And his latest film was The Black Phone, so that ended up being number 6 for Patreon, was The Black Phone. All right, Raven Shadow, let's hear your number 6.
Well, I think that's very funny, or maybe apropos. Your boy is also on the pulse of the Patreons in the community, as long as those in the world and the planet Earth. So, thank you. So, my number 6 is a film that I really enjoyed. I think for the most part, we all enjoyed it. And it's also it's also The Black Phone.
Oh wow! I had no idea you were gonna go there. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke, who's dabbling in the genre. He's always dabbling in genre, I guess, really from the jump, from his early work. But I really enjoyed The Black Phone. Love the mask. I'm glad we didn't see certain things, and I'm glad some things were left to the imagination. But I enjoyed this picture quite a bit.
All right. The Black Phone, Raven Shadow's number 6. All right, so we're now getting down to the nitty-gritty here, the top 5. And, I'm sure for most people, at least for me, these, could be interchangeable at this level. Like, it's difficult to kind of place these. But, so my number 5... And it's funny, like I look at this and I'm like, man, like could I move it up? Like it's that difficult to place these. So my number 5 is a film that's already been mentioned, and as I mentioned with Guillermo del Toro, when this guy, he's only put out a handful of films, but when he puts out a film, like it's an event, like, and that's not something we get all that often these days. And it's always a big deal, and usually he keeps a lot of stuff under wraps, which I really dig. And my number 5 is Nope. From Jordan Peele. All right. Josh, your number 5.
Okay. So my number 5. So there are not a lot of sequels to films that really enhance the first one in a good way. And especially when it's a sequel that takes such a different stylistic turn. So to go with what you were wondering earlier,
Yep.
my number 5 is Pearl. I got to see this one in the theater, and whereas there are, from a filmmaking standpoint, this one has a couple more flaws than X, but from a stylistic and storytelling standpoint, I think it stands above it. Especially sitting through that end shot in a theater.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, there's something very gripping about the film, and so number 5 is Pearl. I'm very much looking forward to Maxine.
Yeah, me too. Now they had to film that one, right? They didn't do 3 back to back, right?
No, that from what I understand, I'm not even sure if it's filmed yet, but I think at least when Pearl was out theatrically, I remember seeing things about Maxine being in pre-production or something like that.
Okay.
So they might be filming it right now. I don't know.
Right this very second.
As we speak. In the next room.
Oh, shit. Every damn night.
On the telephone?
Yeah.
All right. So we had... So yeah, that is interesting though. Josh had X and then Pearl, and it sounds like Pearl had some flaws that you felt, but still ended up being the stronger film.
Yeah. I just felt that there was some things, I think, from more of a filmmaking standpoint that didn't work as well, but oddly enough, from a storytelling or emotional vantage point, worked better.
All right.
I guess it's an example where some of that style over substance can work, whereas, good storytelling can beat out other things.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So number 5 was Pearl, and number 5 for Patreon is a film that's already been mentioned, and that is Deadstream. Patreon chose that as their number 5. All right, Raven Shadow, what's your number 5?
So my number 5 is a movie that this type of film can often go either way. You look at the cast, you look kind of the gimmick or the premise, and this should be awesome, or it could be really too much. And I gotta say, as it started, I thought it was gonna be, hey, this is a little bit too much camp. But once it kind of got its juices going and flowing, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, this works for me. And that would be Bullet Train. I had a lot of fun with it. It was, and there's another criteria that does have an impact on my selections, and that's something that you can watch with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
The group setting picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always is pretty important to me.
All right. So Bullet Train was Raven Shadow's number 5. That was a Patreon pick too.
Yeah, it was. It was
Evil Corny chose that one. All right, so now number 4. So once again, these, completely kind of interchangeable. This is a film that I will want to see again. I haven't had an opportunity to watch again. But I'm a big fan of the director, and he, once again, I kind of mentioned it with Jordan Peele and also with Guillermo del Toro. But whenever Park Chan-wook puts out a film, I'm very excited about it. And this film was such a interesting. I just thought it was such an interesting film. The way it was shot, the way the story flowed, like everything about it just was really, it felt so like old school Hollywood cinematic, but it felt different. It felt fresh in a way. And so for me, my number 4 is Decision to Leave from director Park Chan-wook. All right, Josh, how about your number 4?
Number 4, a movie that has been mentioned, a director that I'm a big fan of, and I think that this fits very well in line with work that he has done throughout his career, and that is Crimes of the Future.
Ah. All right, so already been mentioned on the Patreon list. So do you think Cronenberg's still working at a high level, Josh, here? Obviously, you had him as your number 4, so I'm guessing so.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think both creatively and I feel bad saying it this way, to a more important degree, budgetarily. Because I feel like there are many other filmmakers who get to a point where they might still be having the right ideas and the right creative drive, but they no longer have the ability to get that vision on film.
Right.
But Cronenberg can still command enough of a budget to get that set design, that prop design, and that level of effects and storytelling. Because I feel Crimes of the Future can be screened right alongside like Videodrome or Existence, and you have things from 3 varying different parts of his career that can all come together.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, number 4 for Josh was Crimes of the Future. Number 4 for Patreon is another. Speaking of Patreon, it was another Patreon takeover film, and it was one we did, I'd say, like in the early half of the year, and it was a film that Linus was very excited to talk to us about, and was a film that we probably would have seen anyways, but was a 3-hour epic known as The Batman. So The Batman was number 4 on the Patreon list.
Fucking Batman. Was that the song?
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. So there you go. Batman was number 4. How about you, Raven Shadow? Let's hear the number 4.
So my number 4, thank you, Josh. This director has been higher on the card in past years, and has been mentioned. It's very hard to top probably his most previous work, but I still really enjoyed it. And speaking from the perspective of this would be a great flick to have some of your friends over watching it, getting fired up, whatever, pizza or Chinese food. Great for a samurai night. And this would be my number 4. Will be The Big Four by Timo.
Wait, you put that at number 4 just because it was number 4, right? Because it was The Big
No.
Four.
No. Yeah, no, I'm not good with numbers, but no,
right,
it's right.
Timo's listening right now, and he's kicking himself for not naming the film The Big One.
Yeah. That's Josh.
Yeah,
Big Far.
They could have been the number 1 team, right? Instead of like 4 individuals. Yeah, a missed opportunity there, Raven Shadow, huh?
Yeah, next year.
You get him next year.
Yeah, get him, Tiger.
All right.
Yeah, well, I have bad reading comprehension.
By the way, Linus just typed in chat, "fucking Batman" in all caps. All right. So Big Four was Raven Shadow's number 4, and my number 4. Oh, never mind. I gave my number 4. We're down to 3 now. My number 3. This is a film we did earlier in the year. Once again, all of the most of these from from here on out are directors who have a reputation in my eyes. Like it's a director that whenever they put something out, I want to watch it as soon as I possibly can. And this was no different. We've done every film that this director has put out on the show. Surprisingly, he's only had 3 films. All of which, I think have been at an incredibly high level. And this one here was, it's already been mentioned. So I won't say too much more, but it I feel like it was a very accurate film that played in this historical time period, and a lot of filmmakers, don't necessarily rely on history too much when they're telling their stories, but I feel like this director does. He's very much into making sure things are accurate. And this is his third film, and his next film is I Can't Wait. It's a film he's been wanting to do for years, and the director, Robert Eggers, the film The Northman, and his upcoming film that he's working on is Nosferatu. And I can't wait. I think his take on it is going to be incredibly cool. Bill Skarsgård is in it. He's working with another Skarsgård. Nicholas Hoult also is cast, and Lily Rose Depp is cast as well. So at least that's the rumors. And I assume Bill Skarsgård is playing Count Orlok. Like, who else is he going to play? So my number 3 is The Northman from Robert Eggers. All right. Josh, how about you? Number 3.
So my number 3 is a film I had not heard anything about when it popped up on Shudder, and I put it on probably about a week before you guys covered it. Just was like, oh, this looks like something for background, and it entirely sucked me in, and that is Deadstream.
Yeah.
So this was kind of the best surprise of the year, and it's a ton of fun. And something I'm definitely going to go back and revisit.
All right. Yeah. Deadstream.
Yeah.
All right. Patreon, their number 3 is, let's see, I think it's been mentioned. No, it hasn't. It hasn't been mentioned on anyone's list yet. We mentioned it earlier. But number 3 for Patreon is everything everywhere all at once. There you go. This one seemed to really resonate with folks, and I've been seeing it pop up on a lot of best of lists this year. So there you go. Patreon chose Everything Everywhere All at Once, number 3. All right, Raven Shadow, your number 3.
Ooh, my number 3 was a fucking surprise. And a lot of things I liked. Kick-ass action, a kick-ass super team, where everyone has a distinct look about them. They'd be great as the action figure 4-pack.
You already chose the big 4.
Surprise!
Just kidding.
That's why it's higher up on the card. Also, too, as mentioned before, you think it's one type of movie. Like, it's kind of like, I was telling this to Mary, and she didn't see this, but I was like, oh, it's like The Losers meets From Dusk Till Dawn. And it being in with a tale of revenge. And it's a foreign picture, so you never know where it's going to go. So my number 3 is Saloon.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Look at you uncultured swine. Or maybe I'll call you a cultured swine.
I am a cultured swine.
All right. Raven Shadow's number 3 is Saloon. Look at that.
Yeah, it's when Johnny has his monocle. Raven Shadow is a cultured swine.
Yeah. All right. So now we're getting down to the top 2. So what we'll do is when we get to number 1, we'll have everyone read down their list from 13 down to 2. But for number 2 here, this is a film that stuck with me. I want to say we did it about maybe towards, episode 524. So not quite half, a little past halfway through the year, maybe towards late summer. But it's a film that really stuck with me, and I really dig this filmmaker. he's one of those that now, after this film, I feel is one of those directors. Is as soon as he puts something out, I want to check it out, and that's kind of been true for the last few years because he's put out several really good films. But I feel like this one really sort of like brought him to a different level. And this is only his third feature film that he's directed. He's written a bunch more, including, actually, let me read a couple. He wrote the screenplay to Dread. He wrote 28 Days Later, and he wrote the novel The Beach.
Shit.
So the movie ended up being based on. So he started out as a writer, got into filmmaking, and his previous films, Ex Machina and Annihilation, were both really amazing. And his film from this year, my number 2, from Alex Garland, Men.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Josh, let's hear number 2.
Okay, number 2 was one of the most fun experiences I had in the theater this year. It is a movie that is full of interesting and detestable characters. That is full of story and style shifts. And that is Barbarian.
Oh, shit.
Oh, all right. Barbarian is Josh's number deuce. All right, Patreon, they chose, interesting, Barbarian, number 2 from Patreon. It appeared on, I think, everyone's list. Yeah, it appeared on everyone's list from Patreon. Even getting so high as being a number 1 film from someone.
-2.
So, did you start roboting again?
Yep. You did.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
I don't hear it when we talk. I only hear it when he talks.
Yeah, it's only when I talk. But you guys sound fine coming through. But when I talk, there's a bit of an echo on my end. So I have to hang up with you guys and fucking reconnect. This is fucking annoying. This usually only happens once on a show. So I'm gonna drop these guys.
You have a chance. I think you're number 2 and number 1.
Right. Drop these guys. We'll get them right back because this is really fucking annoying. All right, let's see. While I disconnect them, let's see where it was. I was just looking something up. Oh, yeah. I just did the Patreon list of their number 2, which was Barbarian. So let me go ahead and get these guys going. I do have. All right, you know what? I'm going to read. While I get these guys back, I'm going to read some lists from Patreon folks, because we're getting up to number 1. So let's see here. Let me just pull up the list. Okay, so Double D, he actually left a voice message. He may talk about this in his voicemail, but since we're talking about the top 13 films, let me go ahead and mention his. So his films, top 13, I'm going to go from 13 down to 1. He did Crimes of the Future, Duel, Decision to Leave, Deadstream, X, The Northman, Nightmare Alley, Pearl, Terrifier 2, Barbarian, The Black Phone, Nope, and The Batman. EF Contentment, let me go ahead and read his list. Same thing, from 13 down to 1. The Big Four, The Innocents, Off Season, The Show, The Batman, Barbarian, Deadstream, Decision to Leave, Duel, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Nope, Take Shelter, and Crimes of the Future was EF's number 1 flick for the year. And let's see. Evil Corny sent in a voice message, so I'll go ahead and play his voice message, and we'll hear his top 13 in a bit. I'm going to hold off on that for now because I'm going to reconnect with these guys. And let me go ahead and read Rachel's top 13, though. Rachel's top 13, once again, from 13 to 1, is Men, Crimes of the Future, The Black Phone, Saloon, The Batman, and she chose Pearl and X, Ty. She says, yeah, I'm cheating. Nope, Deadstream, Hellbender, Fresh, Everywhere, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Yow! Watcher, and Rachel's number 1, no surprise to anyone, I don't think, is Barbarian. All right, so I got you guys back. I read the top 13s from Double D, EF, and Rachel. Evil Corny sent in a voice message for his top 13, so I'll let him represent himself in just a little bit. But right before we reconnected with you guys, we had mentioned the Patreon number 2 film was Barbarian. And Raven Shadow is going to go ahead and reveal his number 2.
So, Josh is second to last, Barbarian. Patreon's second to last. And once again, we talked about before, Raven Shadow being on the pulse of certain things. I think it's best to go into a picture blind. One movie of this year you wanted to go into a blind. And if it's one to discuss, to have a spoiler section. This one, I think it made you cry and shiver your timbers. My second selection for number second to last be Barbarian. Yeah, boy. Yeah.
That's the Barbarian twins?
We are the Barbarian brothers. We're the new ones.
You know those guys lived in Rhode Island, right?
See?
Look them up.
I'm looking.
They lived in Rhode Island. One of them went to URI.
See?
Yeah.
I've had a UTI too, so I mean, we could be in common.
Oh my God.
One of them used to hang out on Thayer Street in like the 90s.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's good. We're the new rockers. We're like the new Barbarian brothers. Josh and I.
Well, I guess Patreon would make it triplets, the Barbarian triplets. I know that's not a good alliteration, but Patreon chose that film number 2 as well.
So that would, if we have to do the 4 Patreon lists and us with the Barbarian sextuplets.
There you go. See,
that's sexy, right?
Sexy, right? Yeah.
Now that's a gang.
It's a gang. Yeah.
Wow. So Barbarian, that's gonna be tough to beat, I think. Number 2 on 3 lists. And for me, it was on my list as number 9.
Yeah.
You guys make me feel like a little out of place here. I can't be part of the Barbarian sextuplet.
You know what? He just didn't get it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't understand it. Yeah, maybe a little too smart for you, Wolfie. Maybe we can't spell it all out for you.
All right.
Let's use the titles next time.
You know what? Before we get to number 1, let me go ahead and pull up some voice messages. Because I read the top 13s of several folks, and we did get a top 13 from Evil Corny. So let me go ahead and pull up his. All right. So let's hear from Corny. Let's hear his top 13 in his own words and voice. So let's hear from the man.
Happy New Year, guys. This is my top 13 films that Trick or Treat Radio has covered in 2022. I had to think about what year it was. I'm going to start off with Hellbender at number 13. Number 12, Crimes of the Future. Number 11, The Northman. Number 10, Pearl. Number 9, Violent Night. Number 8, The Big Four. Number 7, The Batman. Number 6, Barbarian. Number 5, Bullet Train. Number 4, The Black Phone. Number 3, Deadstream. Number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And number 1, Nope. Guys, hope that everyone has a happy new year, and I can't wait to listen to what you all cover in 2023. And also good to know that MZ is going to be back in 2023. You all have a good one. Evil Courtney out.
All right, Corny. Thanks, man. Awesome to hear from you. And great list. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of good movies on there.
Raven Chow, you normally have something quippy or fun to say about Corny. Corny.
He's a nice man.
Corny.
He's not making fun of me. Yeah, Corny. No fun to. No
He
way
was
to hide.
thinking it. He was thinking it.
He yelled back a little bit. I think that's why. Yeah, no, he's fine. You know what? We're good. We're good. Everything's fine with Coney and I. I'm trying to break us up, Wolfie.
Well, I guess he's part of the sextuplet, so.
There he is.
Yeah.
The big part of it, if you know what I mean.
Oh, man.
You can say he's a founding member, if you know what I mean. Penis
shit.
reference.
All right. Well, let's see. We got another voice message. I think this is might be the last one we have here. Go ahead and load this up, and then might as well just do the all the voice messages now. All right. Yeah, we're gonna hear from Raven Shadows. Speaking of tag teams and brothers, you're gonna hear from your former partner in the Kobayashi Maru. What you gonna do, Raven Shadow?
Couldn't listen to this voicemail.
All right. Well, let's hear from the man himself, Double D.
Hey, what's going on, Trick or Treat peeps? It's your boy Double D. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their holidays and this New Year's Eve. I actually just finished watching the last 2 movies that were on the list for the Trick or Treat reviewed movies of 2022. So I sent over my list to you guys. I'm sure you guys got it by now. And I think you guys had a really good selection of films. It was very varied, but it was some good stuff that we saw this year. I also sent you my list of top 5 movies, which I enjoyed personally. I think the best movie by far this year was The Barbarian. I thought that movie was phenomenal, and it definitely kept me on the edge of my seat like the whole time. So besides Barbarian, I picked The Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Top Gun Maverick, and Smile. I thought those were the best movies in 2022, in my opinion. I also included a list of top 5 games. Now, even though this game isn't new, my top game is No Man's Sky, which is an indie space exploration game. It's been out for several years now, but then they've done a bunch of updates, and that game is phenomenal. I also enjoyed The Quarry, which is kind of like a slasher, butterfly effect type of game. Stray, it's a game which you play as a cat, and you explore like a cyberpunk city. Another sci-fi game called Deliver Us the Moon, and a recent game that came out called the Callisto Protocol that I think Carlitos plays too. So I also included a list of my top 5 podcast shows. Now, I don't mean like, live shows like Joe Rogan Experience or things like that, because obviously my favorite live podcast shows are Trick or Treat Radio and Force Insensitive. But since I do a lot of commuting when I go to work, I have a lot, and there's a lot of traffic. I got a subscription to Audible, so I won't go crazy during traffic. And I listen to a bunch of story shows. And there were some really awesome ones this year, especially on an app called Q Code Media. I'm going to recommend this to you guys in case you guys haven't heard of these, but you can check them out also on Spotify or wherever you guys listen to podcasts. But definitely check out The Edge of Sleep, Baraska, Last Known Position, Blackout, and Birds of Empire. The Edge of Sleep is actually really unique. It's the premise is that there's a pandemic happening, and apparently those who fall asleep end up dying. So the protagonists have to try to stay awake as long as they can and try to figure out what's going on. And there's another one called Blackout with Rami Malek. So this is some like pretty major top production podcast shows that they do. So definitely check those out, guys. I sent that list over to you. And yeah, just looking forward to the show tonight. Talk to you later, guys. Happy New Year's.
All right, Double D. Some awesome stuff there. And I have to ask. It's funny because on Double D's list for the top 13 Trick or Treat radio films of 2023, his number 1 was The Batman, and his number 4 was Barbarian. But his top 5 movies of 2022 was Barbarian and The Batman. So he had Batman number 1 for our films, but number 2 on his top films. I wasn't quite sure how that worked out.
There's a weird Dominican rule system in
Okay.
place there. So, yeah, it's a lot of
They got a different movie where the Batman and Barbarian were combined into one film.
yeah.
The Barb Man.
Yeah, when she goes downstairs in the
The
ga-
Batbarian.
yeah, the Batberry in the Gacy room, it's actually Bruce hanging out being fucking
It's-
weird.
See what, like, they went to the end of that hallway and they took a right, and that's where Richard Brake's character was. If they took a left and hopped over that pit that they fell in,
Yeah.
they would have kept going to the Batcave.
Yeah, it'd be a giant dinosaur
Yeah.
in a big penny.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of Batwana.
Now that I could actually see. Yeah, I could see that.
That's a crossover right
That
there.
is a crossover. The
Yeah.
Barb Man. Oh, he's Double D says his top 5 wasn't in any particular order. Okay, so he just named his top 5. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah,
All
Dominican rules.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dominican rules. All right, I can get with that. All right. So we've got through the voice messages. We've read every Patreon supporters list, and now I think all that's left to do is to talk about our number ones. To go through the list and to do that, and then we'll have to. I fell behind on putting all the movies into my spreadsheet that'll add it up quickly. Because if you remember in the past, Raven Shadow, I've added them up manually, but this time I created a spreadsheet with a formula that will do it all for me. So I just have to plug them all in. But I fell behind trying to keep up with everyone. So we'll just need to take a few minutes. We're not going to take a break, Raven Shadow, but I'll have you guys talk about some honorable mentions or something, and then we'll add them up and figure it out. So, number 1 film of the year, and for me, it was a pretty easy pick. I think I mentioned earlier in the show. There was only one film this year that got 10 stars, 10 out of 10. And it's a film that I've thought of a lot all year, like literally all year. And I've talked to a lot of people about. So, but let me run through my top 13. From 13 down to 2, we have Glorious at number 13, The Big Four, Watcher, A Wounded Fawn, Barbarian, Nightmare Alley, Deadstream, Nanny, Nope, Decision to Leave, The Northman, Men. That's 13 to 2. Let's see. Since we don't use it very much anymore, let me go ahead and get the drum roll ready. And my number 1 film of the year Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah!
This fucking film. Holy shit. It fucking took me by surprise. It looked awesome seeing the trailer. I had heard good things, but when I watched it, I was in complete awe of what I was watching. This film was so bonkers. It had so many fucking crazy concepts, but at its core, it had such heart, and it had some absolutely phenomenal action. There was just so many positive things about this movie. I could just go on and on talking about it, and I don't really want to do that because maybe it'll come up again. I don't know, but it's definitely hard. It wasn't even really a question. I was like, yeah, that's my number one. What's coming? What's gonna what else is coming after it? And it was just kind of figuring it out from there. So. Yeah, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, my number one film of the year. Not even a question this year. So, Josh, if you would please read your 13 to 2. We'll do the funny drum roll, and then you could do number 1.
Okay, so number 13, Off Season. Number 12, Studio 666. Number 11, Hellbender. Number 10, Glorious. Number 9, The Northman. Number 8, My Best Friend's Exorcism. Number 7, Hellraiser. Number 6, X. Number 5, Pearl. Number 4, Crimes of the Future. Number 3, Deadstream. Number 2, Barbarian. And number 1, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Yeah! This film literally has something for everyone. It has crazy action, slapstick comedy, heartfelt family drama, complete abstract weirdness. I don't know, what else would you want?
Talking rocks.
Talking rocks.
Hot dog fingers.
Hot dog fingers. Bagels.
What was Rakakuni?
Yeah,
Rakakuni. David fucking Lopan.
Data.
Data and Short Round.
Yeah.
Kicking ass.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Yeah, you cheat. Put him in Indiana fucking 5. That's a movie.
I am actually happy that the casting of this movie didn't work out the way they originally wanted it to, because this film is amazing.
I agree, yeah.
Was the original cast?
So
Jackie
apparently it was written for Jackie Chan.
Yes.
But it was supposed to be Jackie Chan as the lead.
Yeah, as Michelle Yeoh.
Yes. So apparently they didn't change anything once they dropped that. They just made it so that the wife was in that role and that the husband, but they didn't. They kind of left it the way it was written.
Was he still married to Data?
No. That was it was, okay. But there was supposed to be like an actress playing that role.
Okay.
But they didn't kind of rewrite the roles in a way. You know. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it is a film that I could watch multiple more times and probably always find something new.
Yeah.
So it's my number one film.
All right. Look at that. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once for Josh. All right, patrons. Oh, go ahead, Josh. What's up?
I said monocles all around.
Yeah. All right, for Patreon, they're number one. Let me just take a look at the list. It showed up on... it was number one on one person's list, which we've heard. It was number one on Corny's list. It was number 2 on someone else's list. It was number 3 on someone else's list. So this and number 7 on someone else. So this one obviously was a big, a lot of support for this one. And number 1 for Patreon is Jordan Peele's Nope.
Wow.
All right, Raven Shadow, let's do yours. Actually, you know what? I apologize. I forgot to do the Patreon 13 to 1. I'll just do that real quick, and then you can do yours. So Patreon 13 to 1, Fresh, Hellbender, Decision to Leave, Duel, Watcher, Pearl, Crimes of the Future, The Black Phone, Deadstream, The Batman, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, Barbarian, and number 1 for Patreon was Nope. All right, Raven Shadow, let's do your 13 to 2.
All right. Starting number 13 would be Allegoria.
You want me to do them for you?
My handwriting's not that good, Johnny. And it's dark and I'm wearing sunglasses. Number 13, Allegoria. Number 12, The Show. Number 11, Maniac Driver. Number 10, Fresh. Number 9, Nope. Number 8, The Innocents. 7, Wounded Fawn. Number 6, The Black Phone. Number 5, Bullet Train. Number 4, The Big Four. Number 3, Solara. Saloon.
Oh my God.
Solaris.
Solaris.
That was a picture. Yep. Shalom. Number 2, Barbarian. And, what can I say? What can I say that hasn't been said, but maybe give a good old-fashioned, yeah, boy, because my number 1 is fucking, yeah, everything, everywhere, all at once. The mind meld. I mean, I knew that this was number 1. We saw the motherfucker, right? Come on. Right.
It was definitely, once you saw that was the movie that had to be topped.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now that you guys have the Barbarian sextuple, now we have the EO triplets, right? Or something along those lines?
Yeah, fire!
What do you think Aries number 1 would have been? He didn't do Violent Night with us, but I have a feeling like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I have a feeling it would be something like that, because you remember... It was a couple of years ago. I forget the name of the movie, actually. It was with Mads Mikkelsen as the,
Polar.
Polar. He loved Polar. So that's why, I don't know. I was just thinking, you know what? He loved Polar. He probably would fucking love Violent Night.
Yeah. Or maybe Bullet Train. I could see him digging Bullet Train.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I know. He was not. But I'm saying, I could see that being up his alley.
Yeah, probably like Batman 13 through 11, Bullet Train.
Well, actually, he
Barbarian.
kind of had some problems with Batman, didn't he?
He's got lots of problems.
He liked it, but I remember he had some problems with it.
But I think it still made him mad. I think he wished Bruce had a beard.
Linus said, "Fucking Bar Batman." That would be kind of awesome, though, if they do a sequel to Barbarian, they go back and it's fucking, there's a big penny down there, Alfred's hanging out.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, you're trying to flee from maybe a potential,
yeah,
legal entanglement.
Yeah,
you go to your house.
That first room with the video camera, that was Alfred's room.
Yeah. Oh, better than Grayson. That's not good.
All right, so we've done our top 13. Let's see. Number 1 guesses, I guessed wrong for both Raven Shadow and Josh, so I win nothing. Let's see here. Let me look at the next one. Raven Shadow, you were right about me, Raven Shadow. Look at you.
See, and I should have picked that for Josh too. I mean, it's bad. Damn it.
See, I almost picked that for him, but I just remember how much he raved about Decision to Leave on the show.
It's true.
And you're also wrong about Patreon. You chose Barbarian, which was a good guess, but they went with Nope. And
I'm surprised.
And Josh was also wrong. So Raven Shadow, you win. You're the big winner here on the guessing game. You know what, Raven Shadow, get yourself an extra Uncrustable tonight, okay?
Yeah, baby.
Raven Shadow, there's chicken fingers for you.
Oh, there's chicken fingers. Actually, I do have some Uncrustable. You want? I can. It's in the freezer right now. I can take it out.
Sorry, we still got more Chinese.
All right, so I need to do a little bit of data entry. Oh, it's really exciting stuff here. So if you two wouldn't mind, just are you guys surprised about the list? What do you guys think?
Do you want us to save honorable mentions till the next show?
Yeah, let's save honorable mentions for the Patreon show. But yeah, just talk about the list. Was there anything surprising, omissions or inclusions?
So Raven Shadow, was there anything surprising on one of our lists that you didn't expect?
It was a hard list. I think there were. Well, I guess we'll talk about it on the next broadcast.
Well, I was going to say Saloon was a little bit of a surprise for me on your list.
On my list?
Not because it was a foreign film, but because it was just long enough ago where I had assumed you'd forgotten about it.
But it was like, but say they were badass squad. They looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's my gimmick. That's my thing. There.
Yeah,
like, I like.
No, this year there was definitely no shortage of like really good films.
It really was. I mean, I there's no wrong list.
Correct.
Like,
because I know we had similar criterias.
Yeah.
And that, with one of the things being that the only reason certain things didn't make it on my list was because I didn't immediately want to rewatch it.
Yeah.
You know? That doesn't mean they weren't fantastic films. Yeah.
Right. There's definitely plenty of reasons why you might not want to watch a film again. I mean, one could be like, I've seen Requiem for a Dream.
Yes.
Don't need to see it again.
I mean, funniest romantic comedy ever, right?
It's true. Right. Right. Two girls, one Dilsky. It's not good. But yeah, there's certain films. Like, I mean, what's the dark web? But no, right. But I see what you're saying. There's certain, like, I'm a big fan of the party movie.
Yes.
Having that with people over, like, oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some folks, like, I wouldn't think Barbarian would be something to have 4 people over and like watch.
Oh, it might be.
Certain people.
That's a party movie.
But bear.
But no, I totally understand. Yes. But and also like The Big Four, totally a party movie.
Yeah. And we saw a lot of movies that were subtitles, and that can, I think that leads it to itself in a group setting when it's over the top action and violence.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, there's no movie that was mentioned that I could be like, fucking really, it's on your list.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no shame in the game.
Right.
In anyone's list, from the 3 of us to the Patreon. I have quite a secondary list that, I struggle. I'm curious about the number rating because there's only a couple of true thread lines.
Yeah, like obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once and Barbarian, they're going to do very good on the final list.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other titles that probably aren't going to make it at all. And they're films that we all agree are good films, but maybe only made it onto 1 or 2 lists overall.
Yeah.
How far along are you there, Wolfenstein?
I'm almost done with Patreon, and then I just have to do Raven Shadows 13. So actually, I have about 6 left of Raven Shadow. So just like 2 more minutes.
So for Raven Shadow and people watching the live feed, I found it very interesting that even though Wolfenstein is wearing a black shirt, when he moves quickly, his background goes complete, like his shirt goes blank, especially if he leans down quickly. And parts of him disappear.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
So every once in a while, you'll look over and he's just a disembodied.
Yeah, it's kind of like Wolfie is the one of the photographs in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
When like Marty's like making out with his mom. Yeah, like when Johnny's all disappearing, he ain't counting. But that's fun. So
here's an interesting thing: is
thank you.
Terrifier 2 wasn't on any of our lists, and was it on any of the Patreon lists?
Yeah, it was on 1, I think.
So I find that interesting, just because that seemed to be the runaway horror hit of the year.
Yeah, it was on 1 list. It was number. Let's see, 4, I think, on someone's list.
I just found that interesting because everywhere you looked online, horror fans were raving about Terrifier 2.
And that's fair. And like basically how I took the list.
Yes.
And I got my analog copy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a printed media, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So I printed it out from the shop on Saturday.
See, it works perfect. Like if you always want to remember analog, you think newspaper versus website. So the newspaper is the analog version.
And it wouldn't be printed media.
Well, not just printed, like a cassette.
Exactly.
A record. With a physical media, you're not streaming something digitally. So
I have it.
You have it.
You can't take it from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my analog printout.
Exactly.
So I went through a highlight list. I
Mm-hmm.
highlight like, okay, I know this. You know what I mean? This is something I know. And then I would do an asterisk.
Yeah.
We're like, that could be awesome. Maybe I forget. And then I would have a minus, which is probably not gonna make the list, but maybe I'll second guess it.
Yeah.
And then I had a dot, which maybe I should check this out. So I had a lot of symbols. So it was very confusing. Which
Yes.
I was talking with Mary, and I'm like, well, what does a triangle mean? That's weird. Like, we didn't even do that. No, I just did that star wrong.
One of the ones with ankhs next to them.
Yeah, it means they're big in Egypt.
Oh gosh.
They're big. Yeah. And we have a lot of listeners in Egyptian.
Yeah,
In Egyptian?
Egyptian speaking worlds.
No. What he means is he loves the people that listen to the show in the Egyptian dub.
Yes. Yeah. I'm really funny I'm really funny in Sanskrit. I'll tell you that much. Get that captioning.
Yeah.
But how many more minutes, Johnny?
It's done. I'm just doing the tiebreakers right now.
Okay. See, I went something similar. I read the website list that he sent me.
Yes.
But I broke out the handy notepad. And as I went down, I wrote down every film that I remembered liking. And
Gotcha.
then just went from there.
Yeah, you wrote them all down.
No, well, all the ones that I remembered liking. Where if it struck out to me immediately, it immediately went on my list.
Gotcha.
And then I had to double check things that I didn't remember.
Yeah.
And then once I had the written list, then I just started knocking things off.
Gotcha.
And then I got it down to this longer list, and then I had to narrow it down to the 13.
It's hard.
I know.
There's lots of lists.
Next year, we just 54. Top 54.
Top 54.
Not where you only have to eliminate like six bad movies. 6 movies go into the worst of the year list.
All right, it is done. I have the master list for Trick or Treat Radio 2022. So this takes into account, obviously, all the lists that my list, Josh's list, the Patreon supporter list, and Raven Shadow's list. There's some interesting things on here. A lot of films. Let's see. Let me just count real quick to see how many films didn't get a vote. 27 films didn't get any votes. So I think we're at 31. That's not right. 31. No, that's right. Yeah, 31 films. 30. Okay, so 31 films got votes. And there was quite a few that only ended up on one person's list. And there is, let's see, I think there's only 2 films that ended up on every single list. And yeah, so I think that's it. Just 2 films and were on every single list. And you can imagine where those are going to place. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and read the list of top 13 films for Trick or Treat Radio for 2022. Number 13, Saloom. Raven Shadow, you single-handedly got that on there. There were a couple films that had 2 votes. Fresh had 2 votes. Glorious had 2 votes. Hellbender had 2 votes. But they all were like between 13 and 9, But since you picked Saloom as your Number 3, that bumped it up.
Yeah.
So, Saloom, number 12, A Wounded Fawn, ended up on 2 lists. Then we have The Big Four at number 11. Number 10, Men, ended up on 1 list, but because I had it number 2, got it up there pretty high. Number 9, Decision to Leave. Number 8, Pearl. Number 7, The Black Phone. Number 6, The Northman. Number 5, Crimes of the Future. Number 4, Deadstream. Ravenshaw, you're the only person that didn't have that on your list.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that later, but it's a great fucking movie.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about it later in the Patreon. Number 3, Nope. On everyone's list but Josh's.
Again, we'll discuss later.
And the next 2 were on everybody's list. I think once I mention number 2, everyone's going to know what number 1 is. So let me do the drum roll now. Number 2, Barbarian. That makes the number 1 film of Trick or Treat Radio, almost with a perfect score. Almost. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah!
It was number 1 on 3 lists and number 3 on the Patreon list. So pretty dominating. Barbarian was number 2 on 3 lists. Great showing from Barbarian, but yeah, like Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, like it's hard to top. It's hard to top that.
Here's a real nerd question. So far, in all the years of ranking, what movie has gotten the highest rating?
Well, it's a little misleading because previous years have had more than 4 people, because we used to have 5 hosts. So it's a little...
it's tough, yeah.
Yeah. Let me look real quick at last year just to see how many points. Last year was Psycho Goreman, and it had 48 points. This year, Everything Everywhere All at Once had 50. So this was definitely a bigger success. Actually, in 2020, it was Why Don't You Just Die was the number 1 film with 45 points.
Oh, wow.
Let me go back and see 2019.
Russian picture,
yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the TV.
Yes.
Yeah,
2019, interesting was, I think it was spread out a little bit more because number 1 was Dragged Across Concrete with 39.
Wow.
All right.
So that was, a little bit more spread out. And then I'll just do 2018 and I'll stop there. Oh, okay. This one had the highest number so far, but I believe there was 5 of us. So I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 5 of us in 2018, and The Night Comes for Us and Mandy were tied with 57, but Night Comes for Us was number 1 on more lists, so that broke the tie. That had 57 points. But third was Low Life with 56, so we had 3 films within 1 point of each other in that year. And then the next one down and was Revenge with 21 points. So you can see it was a huge drop off.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Just everybody's top 3 was just those films in a different order.
Yeah,
right.
pretty much. Yeah. So
yeah.
that was 2018. But yeah, so this is I think for having 4 people decide it, I think this is the highest we've had with 50 points. So it was pretty unanimous, I'd say. So everything Everywhere All at Once, number 1 film for Trick or Treat Radio of 2022. I can't say I'm all that surprised by that. I didn't think it would be number 1 on all of our lists. obviously because I didn't pick that for you guys, but you know, like I'm not surprised because it was. And Josh, did you see that in the theater? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I actually projected a preview screening.
That must have been awesome.
March or April.
That must have been a lot of fun.
Oh, wait, this is Corny's Takeover, right?
No. Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I thought you said you didn't pick it. Oh, you didn't pick it for us.
Like when picking like when our number.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we did that one with Rachel. I remember having her on the show, and we kept talking about Rakakuni, and there was so many fun things to talk about with that. That was a blast. So if folks, let me find out the episode title of that one, or the episode number, I mean. If people want to go check it out, it is episode 516, which we did back in June. It was actually it was right after my birthday, me and MZ's birthday. Episode 516, and oh yeah, there's lots of butt plug talk. I forgot about the butt plugs in that movie.
Oh, heavens. Yeah. That was legendary.
Yeah, butt plugs, hot dog fingers.
Yeah, that was a Charles Durning point in our relationship.
Yeah,
with, Rachel.
Yeah, it sure was. So yeah, that was episode 516. So if people want to go back and re-listen to our discussion, there you go. Oh, I forgot that that was that episode is the only episode that's not on YouTube anymore because it got taken down. And I don't know why. They said it was for copyright, but I think we showed a few seconds of the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once to show Rakakuni, that scene or something like that. Or it was a trailer. I can't remember what. I think we showed something from the movie, and it was literally probably a few seconds, but it got taken down and it's no longer available.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can access it to download it because I don't have it, so I don't know. It sucks. I'll see if I can. Hopefully, I can still access it to download it. Otherwise, that would be pretty shitty. Oh shit! You know what? People were commenting on YouTube, and I completely wasn't paying attention. That sucks. We had some cool people hanging out too. Casual Noob Sabat said, "Sorry, I got sidetracked with football." So his top 13. I think it's just his top 13 that he watched was Return of the Living Dead, Get Out, Mandy, Halloween Ends, Army of the Dead, Conjuring 2, Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse, Hellraiser, Christmas Bloody Christmas, You, Nanny, Deadstream, and Barbarian. And oh shit, that sucks. We missed Andrea Subasati from Rue Morgue. And
fucking really?
Yeah. She commented, she said, "What up, Trick or Treat Radio?" and said, "Happy New Year."
Hello.
Oh man, I'm bummed out that we didn't catch that because Andrea is so fucking cool, and she also does one of the best podcasts, Faculty of Horror. So if you guys don't listen, you're fucking up. But Faculty of what's up?
So we're sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think anyone was going to tune in because we didn't plan to do this live. So I completely forgot to take a look, but Radio of Horror, Dr. Chris also checked in, said Happy New Year, and he said some of my favorite movies last year was Clerks 3 and Smile. All right, so, well, thank you guys for tuning in. I apologize that I wasn't paying attention on YouTube, but appreciate you guys listening, hanging out, and yeah, well, there you go. Oh, Double D says Josh is a nope-hater.
I certainly didn't hate it.
Just didn't make it. 13 movies. That's not a lot,
List.
And honestly, I really like Nope. Don't get me wrong, but I think it might be third in my favorite of Jordan Peele's movies.
Same here, and that's part of what played into my decision.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that a little bit in the Patreon. All right. So, well, that's gonna do it. So, I just want to make sure we didn't forget anything. I think we did everything we needed to. We got all the voice messages. Let's see. I got an email. Okay, no. Oh yeah, my credit card payments due. That's what the email is. It's not a voice message.
Patreon subscribers.
Yeah. No. So, well, that's it. So we're gonna continue the conversation on the Patreon. So if you guys are Patreon supporters, keep an eye out for that, and you guys can go ahead and hear some additional discussion. But that's it. That was the year in film. So, Josh, as always, we appreciate you joining us. And I want to say, I said this to Josh pre-show, but I also want to say it to the listeners that even though MZ is coming back and there will be 4 of us most weeks, we still intend to have regular guest co-hosts because we had so much fun this year with that. Like, I know Raven Shadow, we do this all the time where we don't want to name names because we had so many awesome guests this year. But I'm going to name a few, and that's the ones that joined us repeatedly throughout the year. Josh joined us for at least 6 or 7, maybe even 8 episodes. That was fucking awesome. We had Mina in-house too. Yeah, we had Mina Rose hang out for a few episodes. We had Rachel from the Zombie Girls, and we had Rocky join us for a couple episodes. And Liz, your compadre Liz, who from the Comic Crush podcast, and a whole host of other awesome folks that we had earlier on in the year, including some awesome. We had some really great Patreon takeovers as well this year, and even Patreon takeover, like a lot of the films chosen ended up on lists, whether it's the Patreon list or ours. So I would say, like, even though MZ wasn't here, it still was a great year. We had some really great conversations, and just like literally, I think some of our most fun shows in the last few years happened this calendar year. So Josh, you were a big part of that. So thank you very much, man.
Thank you for constantly inviting me.
Thanks, buddy.
Even if it always is like the day.
Yeah, I know. Josh gets the brunt of, oh shit, like I should ask Josh. I meant to ask him earlier in the week.
I messaged you to be like, when is the show so I can send in a message? And you're like, you want to come on the show?
Yeah. It's funny because I had mentioned to Raven Chat, I'm like, oh, we should ask Josh. And then I completely forgot, and I've been trying to stay away from my computer for my vacation, and I just completely forgot. And yeah, so Josh messaged me like, "Fuck, I meant to message Josh." So there you have it. So all right, well, Josh is going to join us on the Patreon show. So if you guys are listening, we'll be take a listen to that next. And Josh, if you have anything to say, we sometimes do resolutions. I don't know if we're going to do them this year, but if you have any resolutions or anything you want to say, and then you can say goodbye to the folks, feel free.
I got no resolutions because, I'm not going to keep them anyway, right?
Hey, if you don't make them, you don't have to keep them, right?
Right, exactly. As far as something else to say, if you're not going to be listening to the Patreon and you have any questions about why I left certain things off my list, feel free to just find me on social media and reach out to me.
Don't at him, bros.
Yeah, be fucking cool about it. Like, don't,
Yeah. You don't have to call me a no-pater.
Yeah.
But other than that, thanks for having me and goodbye.
All right. Raven Chatham.
Yeah, I mean, as far as resolutions go, I guess I'll probably lie to myself like I lie to my doctors. And I get some good plans for me to do things I'm not ever going to do. It's killing. No, but it's the thing. So, and once again, come over to the Patreon show. We're going to get real. I'm going to get a little real on that one. But listen, as we lie to ourselves thinking that each year is going to be better, and it's not, we keep getting some pretty good entertainment. So you know what? I think our various top 13 lists can attest to that. So hey, enjoy it while it lasts. Thank you. Live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
All right. And you know what? Like, I may try that. I was going to say, you know what? Since we have some people watching live, I might try to just do the Patreon show live too. Like, but
live?
Maybe. But the thing is, I have to do it differently because I only want Patreon people to, like it's a Patreon show, so I only want Patreon people to see it. So if I do, it might just be Discord. I might try something on Discord to see if I can just keep it for Patreon folks. So if you're a Patreon supporter and you're on the Discord, just keep an eye out. I'm going to try to get it going. If I don't get it going right away, I'm just going to let it go because we have one more episode we got to get in, and it's getting late. So later than we thought anyways. So yeah, so we'll give that a go and see if we can do it live, and if not, whatever. All right, well, that's it. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us on this episode and this year. It was a great year. It's nice to kind of put a cap on this, and we got something to look forward to next year. Our brother MZ is coming back home, and he's back. He's back for well, I don't know about for good, but he's back for now, for the foreseeable future. He is back, and he'll be joining us on a weekly basis. So it's exciting, and I'm glad. But I'm also incredibly thankful for everyone who pitched in over the course of the year, including Josh and others, and also all the listeners who just continue to hang out. I know MZ was a very popular host, and I feel like the show definitely wasn't quite as good without him, but it'll be better now. It'll be even better with him. So come back, join us in the new year in 2023. MZ will be joining us back, and look forward to what the new year has to bring. So I don't really have any resolutions per se, other than we're going to try to be more on time. Next year for the live show, we're going to try to be more on time. So there you go. That's our resolution for the show. All right, everyone. That's going to do it for the year-end 2022. Congratulations to all the great films and Everything Everywhere All at Once, #1. So we'll see you guys next year.